Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kundi Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavanam ki jai, Navadipam ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Yamuna Mayi ki jai, Ganga Mayi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to the some devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste, namaste, yeah. Namaste, namaste, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, Bhagavad Gita class. Start with introduction prayer, page 1. Omagana Dharmadasya Jnana Jnana Shalakya Chakshurundanityanina Tasme Shruvade Namaha Shri Chaitanyam Manubhishtam Sakitanina Bhutale Swayam Pakalamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge, offering respectful obeisances unto him. When Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada is established within this material world and wishes to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet. Vandeham Shri Shuddha Padakamalam Shiguram Vaishnavcha Shrupa Sagarajvatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Tatsajivam Sahitam Sadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakha. Offer respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Gopala Bhatta and Sri Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivasa, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Sri Vishakha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavashvade Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose lovely complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vancha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Bhakta-vrinda. Offer my obeisances to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas and all others in the line of devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So yeah, we were in chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge. Remember which verse we left off at?
Yeah, 5.
Was that?
We're starting on 5 today. When you say left off at, do you mean like the verse we ended on the day before?
Yeah, the verse that we ended on.
We ended on verse 4.
Verse 4. Hard to know? Okay. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge. Starting at text 5. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni Me Vayatatani Jamani Tavacharjuna
Tanyaham Veda
Veda Savani Natvam Vita Paratapa. Translation: The Blessed Lord said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, both of you are again. Text 6. Ajopi sannavayatma bhutanam vishvarapi san prakritim svamadhishtaya Sambhavam Yatma Maya. Translation: Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear every millennium in my original transcendental form. Text 7. Yada yada hitamasya glamyavati bharata Abhutanam Adharnashya Taratmanam Srijam Yaham. Translation: Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and predominant rise of your religion, at that time I descend myself. Text 8.
Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhayami yuge yuge.
Translation: In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I have bent myself millennium after millennium. Text 9. Janmekamacha devyam evam yoveti tattva tattva deham punarjamma naiti mameti sarjuna. Translation:
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, attains my eternal abode, or Arjuna.
Text 10. Vitaragavaya krodha manmaya mamupashrita bhavo jnana tapasa buddhamadbhavam agata. Translation: Being free from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past come purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attain transcendental love for me. Text 11. Yeyatamam parpatyate tam sadeva bhajami aham mama vartamanuvartanatamte manushaya arta sarvasya. Translation. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Text 12.
Kshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja.
Translation. Men in this world desire success and fruit of active peace, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruit of work in this world. Text 13.
Chaturvanyam maya shishtam gunakarma vibhagasha tasya kartaram api mam kartaram avyayam.
Translation. According to the three modes of material nature and the work prescribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet non-doer, being unchangeable. Text 14. Namam karmani nirbanti name karma spande vira iti mam yogi jananti karma vidirna sabhadyate. Translation. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action.
One who understands this truth about me also does not
become entangled in the fruit of your actions work. Text 15. Evam vyantva kartam karma puryar api vimukshubhi Kuru karma tasmatam purvai purvataram kritam. Translation. All
the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding and so attained liberation. Therefore, as the ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness.
Final text this evening, text 16. Kim kama pramati kavaya priyatra mahita tasi kama pravatyaruni yatva mokshayase yati subhahat. Translation. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. Turning to text 5. Text 5, translation before Brian Gracie, the Blessed Lord said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. O subdue the enemy. 4. In the Brahma Samhita, we have information of many incarnations of the Lord. It's stated there, Avekyam Achutam Adyam Anantatrupam Adyam Purana Puratam Nava Yavadnam Cha Vedashu Gurapara Adulapam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, is also stated in the Brahma Samhita. Ramari Mutritsu Kala Namayas Yamani Mina Tishtan Nanavataram Akarad Uranvishikitu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumatyo Govindam Adi Purasham Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Nrsimha, and many sub-incarnations as well. But who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also? In the Vedas, also it is said that the Lord, although one without a second, nevertheless manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidurya stone, which changes color yet still remains one. All those multi-forms are understood by the pure, unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedashu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companions of the Lord. And whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjuna is one of these devotees, and in this verse, it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vivashvan, Arjuna, in a different capacity, was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjuna is that the Lord remembered the incidents, whereas Arjuna could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed herein as the mighty hero who could subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, living entity, however great he may be in this material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is in constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma Samhita as infallible, achyuta, which means that he never forgets himself. Even though he is in the material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects. Even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjuna, although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace of the devotee, can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature.
Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demonic brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years before, but Arjuna could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body, but the Lord remembers because he does not change. His Satchid Ananda body, he is himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit. Wait, was that? I'm sorry. He is Advaitya, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditional soul is different from his material body. Because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platform. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, as the Lord explains in the following verse. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna. Hare Mon-Fri, Krishna, yes, we are parts and parcels. We forget. So easy to forget. And especially in this day and age, we are seeing our elders, as they age, the memories seem to be fading faster and faster as this, age of Kali progresses with so many of our adult elders, like, with these advent of Alzheimer's and dementia. Memories, having to remember is an interesting thing. In some ways, our mind is like a trap. There's things that we experience in life that we don't want to remember, but we are stuck with the memories. In other ways, there are times that we don't want to lose our memories, and they are gradually fading away. This really happens in the change of bodies. You no longer have this physical matter brain that's storing all these memories. And you change bodies. That lump of fat stays here. But it's interesting because Krishna remembers it all. He remembers all the past times, all the previous lives. But we cannot, unless you have a particular grace by Krishna. Some have a particular grace where they can remember some of their past lives, but it'd be hard to believe that there'd be someone out there that can remember all their past lives, because, boy, eternity is a long time. Very long time. To have millions and millions of births. Text 6. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, yes, Oh, Maharaj has something to say? Nice.
Was there a comment online?
Hare Krishna. We're going to put the verse on up here so Maharaj can look at it.
Yes, sir. Feel free to share the screen too if you like.
So this is speaking about memory. Krishna gives his statement, chapter 15, text 15. Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto taksmati jnanam apohanam cha vedasya sarvaraham vivajam vedantika veda vedavajam. Translation is, I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So, when we remember something, it's Krishna, seated in our heart, who allows us to remember something. When we forget something, like you're mentioning we forget previous lives, if we didn't forget previous lives, and we remembered all the activities that we'd done, it would be very difficult to accomplish things, because we have so many things on our mind, and if we remembered all the moments of anxiety or periods of anxiety and trouble, it would be very difficult to go on with life. So therefore Krishna allows us to forget too. That forgetfulness is a kindness from him. But there are those who practice strict celibacy their whole lives. The Naishtika Brahmachari, one who never has, it's called Upareta, one who doesn't lose any of his vital fluid throughout his life. So such a person is granted a tremendous memory, Shrutidhar, that he can hear something once and then he remembers it. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is in that category. He was so learned, he could hear something and he would be able to retain it. It's like we're in the computer age and we have experience that once it's recorded, it goes into a hard drive and can stay there for a long time, and we can call it up when we like. These bodies are like computers also. Krishna has designed them in such a way that they have all kinds of functions. They can remember things, and they can even regrow things. If something is cut off, some parts of the body just grow again. You don't have to worry about it. So this is truly an amazing construction, and how anyone can say that any body that has life in it could be happening by chance is not thinking clearly, because there's so many thousands and millions of varieties of combinations that have to be perfectly in line in order for some action of an organ, or let's speak of the whole body, the brain, executing a function takes place, or how to reproduce a child from two persons, different bodies, and different secretions, and somehow or other, by putting those two together and making a combination, they come out with a child of similar qualities as both of them. So these are things that maybe people haven't thought about very much. I once asked an old friend of mine from high school, we met after a long time, hadn't seen each other for a long time. So I asked him, he had become a very famous man in the field of glasses. He was a scientist and he made different kinds of studies how to understand certain misfunctions of the eye and how to correct it. So I asked him, I said, did you ever think in the course of your work how the amazing eye could have been designed? You know, there's a famous statement from Darwin. He even said, to say that the eye, with all of its capacities, could have come about by accident is ludicrous. Something like that. So I asked my friend, did you ever think about who might have had the brain to think up how to make the eye such a brilliant thing? He said, no, unfortunately I didn't. So I took that, unfortunately, that was a good step for him, because obviously he wasn't too spiritually minded. You could tell by his lifestyle. But he admitted that he hadn't thought about it. That was his misfortune, because that would be very fortunate. That's why we want to know Krishna in as many capacities as we can. We want to know how he helps us to remember, how he helps us to forget, how he helps us reproduce, and what type of child we'll get. It's all scientifically described. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Very nice. Text 6. Although I am unborn,
No body never deteriorates. And although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Purport. The Lord had spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet men often dare claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his prakriti, or his form. Prakriti means nature, as well as sarupa, or one's own form. Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in the material world in his original form, with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and the Lord is and is the Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. Despite the fact Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the same time, the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just as young, just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us. Although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future, neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in this material world, he is the same unborn eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance is like the sun's rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun is set. When the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because his appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that he is internal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency, and he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi-manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayana with 4 hands. And the decorations of the 6 kinds of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy, according to the Vishvakosha dictionary. Lord is conscious of all of his previous appearances and disappearances. But a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord. He's a Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he's on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without differentiation between his form and self, between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments so far?
Is there someone online? Hello? Okay. Okay. No, I had something though. Okay. So I was thinking of this verse, and I was thinking about how there's a concept that comes up about like God became flesh. And this verse, Krishna is literally saying, I come down myself. I'm going to manifest myself in my own form. And Prabhupada spent the whole purport basically saying that even though he looks like a person, like we're familiar with, and he takes birth like a person that we're familiar with, his form is never material. And though the Shakti-Avesh avatars are a little different, like Shakti-Avesh avatar means it's a jiva, he's a jiva, but he's empowered with the Shakti of Krishna. But his material body is also not material in the sense that it's been fully engaged in Krishna's service, but he is inside of his body. So he's Jivan Mukta, but Krishna's body, as described in 4.6, he's saying, Srijam Yaham, I'm going to come personally. I'm going to manifest myself. And there are some references about Krishna's transcendental body that are given in the Bhagavatam, like it's stated that he was pierced by many arrows during the battle with Bhishma, and there's some references there which basically show that his body is not like ours. Like I'm inside of this, and there's blood and veins that are moving my consciousness from the heart where I'm situated to the whole body. Krishna doesn't have that type of a body. So why would God want to become flesh anyway?
Yes, very nice. Would you like to read the text 7 translation purport? Yep.
Text 7. Chapter 4, text 7. Whenever anyone was a declining religious practice, or descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Report. The word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation. Because, according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of Dwapara Yuga, of the 28th millennium of the 8th Manu, in one day of Brahma, still he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations, because he appears by his own will, whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Brahma from within his heart. Therefore, the principles of Dharma, or religion, are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dharmang tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles. Supreme Lord. And the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles towards complete surrender unto him. And whenever such principles are disturbed by the demonic, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna, who appeared when materialism was rampant and materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendencies still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of nonviolence. Therefore, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they are all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatar unless he is referred to by scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can advent himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant, or himself in disguised form. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and, for that matter, to any other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in both the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest under different circumstances.
Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Bhagavad Gita ki jai.